Food is our medicine. We say that all the time. It's a health equity piece, really, because we know health equity really is the right of communities to be as healthy as possible. Programs like this is exactly what that means, is us being able to use the tools that we have to make ourselves healthier, and we know that work. Oneida has long championed food sovereignty and the importance of controlling our own food systems.
The ground bison we get from Oneida with 638.
Slowly our numbers are picking up. Now that the word is going around about our fresh beef and roast, they're coming back. So we're happy about that.
Cereals.
We know that the health benefits of incorporating our traditional and local Indigenous food into our Indigenous communities really are multifold. We know that how we manage and grow our foods are healthier, that we do very much invest our resources into providing the most healthy products here for our community.
So Oneida's been supplying apples back into the Oneida community itself here for quite a few years. Of the 40 acres now, we're looking at approximately 15 different varieties of apples. This year the weather looks perfect that we should have a big apple crop, and then they'll be sent out on their way to, hopefully many families and homes is the plan.
The food distribution program on Indian Reservation, also known as FDIPR, is administered by the Food and Nutrition Services of the U.S. Department of Agriculture and provides a food package of 100% domestically grown foods to income-eligible households living on Indian reservations and to American Indian households residing on approved areas near reservations. This demonstration project is the first step to expand self-governance into the USDA.
Our tribal name, they call us Menominee, and we're here in northeast Wisconsin. But the name Menominee comes from what the French fur traders and what the Ojibwa, the Chippewa, as they began their migration from the East Coast, they saw us and our reliance on wild rice. And Menominee means people of the wild rice. Our word for ourselves is Kayas Mamachatawak, that means the ancient ones. We don't have a migration story. Our stories tell us we were always here. Part of the reason Menominee is here on this reservation, on this setting, is because at one time, the largest spawning population happened just a quarter mile up the river from where we're sitting right now at Kashina Falls. In the springtime, the old people would say, you would hear that water as it rises, and you would hear that like a beating of a drum between the rocks, and that was calling the fish up here. They would call them up here to spawn. The USDA, FNS, AMS is bringing in foods that we don't know where they come from. And when we look at how the climate is changing, it's important for us to save as we can on carbon reduction.
Indigenous agriculture is the best way when it comes to building food systems that are resilient to unpredictable climate control factors. On the economic side, building out that local economy of our systems and our communities really empowers us to respond better to climate effects as well.
We know that we can have foods that are grown in a more sustainable way with less of the pesticides and herbicides that all of our ancestors have told us in this complex body of ours is hurting us. This is something the tribe has to do for our health and for our economies. We're trying to make sure that this also gets better food into our membership, and we already are seeing that. They're having access to better food and food that they maybe remember when they were a kid.
Right here we have our wild rice project. This is a study that came from restoring wild rice in the lower Green Bay. We have a lot of local lakes that could host wild rice and the rivers, and we have a new high school being built. So it'll be a group collaboration. We'll take some students, we'll work with the tribe, and the students will be transplanting them into the river.
The feedback we've received is there's definitely excitement of being able to see our local foods into our FDIPR program. Definitely a sense of pride as well to know that these foods came, right down the road, perhaps grown by our neighbors or our aunties or our uncles. It makes it personal in that these are our foods that we're providing to our people. Projects such as this that are so much focused on building out and empowering and strengthening the local economy really is allowing us to see the possibilities and necessary next steps that we need to make in investing in ourselves and our food systems to be able to meet potential further demand. Infrastructure is something that is very critical and sometimes overlooked when it comes to food sovereignty initiatives, but I do feel that we have the support, the community support, the leadership support in this specific initiative. We've already noticed the benefits of being able to plan in 1 and 2 years out of having a reliable source of income. Having this be a permanent program that we're able to plan for from the producer side, that would be extremely helpful when it comes to things like expanding our operations, expanding our herds, expanding our orchards.
So this site is our home site at the Oneida Nation Farm. This is where we keep all our beef cattle. We're gonna have about 400 acres of pasture land here, and on this site we have about 600 head of Black Angus cattle. Our beef then are distributed really everywhere. The biggest challenge for us with that is when we started going to Menominee and Oneida, it was a lot more beef all at once. So we had to balance that with our butcher appointments and with our slaughter dates to get these animals processed, because that's oftentimes our bottleneck, is the processing side of it. We have the animals, we have them available, but we have to get them processed. With Oneida, the biggest thing here is that we have the farm, we have the cannery, we have Chuninkwa, we have the apple orchard. So you add all those in, each one of them might have their own individual part, but they all play a part together as part of our OSIFs, our Oneida Community Integrated Food System. Whether that's meat, vegetables, fruits, once those are all tied together, then we can see our food sovereignty kind of come in together wholesome within itself.
While we are excited about participating in the demonstration project, it is limited in scope and only allows tribes to enter into self-determination contracts, and more can be done to enhance tribal flexibility in how this program is implemented.
Food sovereignty is tribal sovereignty. We hear so much, if we can't feed ourselves, are we truly sovereign? Using foods as a pathway to connect ourselves back to our identity definitely strengthens our sense of self and who we are and our role in this community. Who we are in not only our families, but who we are in this nation and our tribe too overall. It's all about really just making things work to be able to get these local foods into our communities.